what we're going to be talking about is how to use Facebook, specifically Facebook groups, to go out and recruit people and bring them into your organization and build your success based on that. But I'm going to teach you the mechanics of that, but let's talk about the background first, okay? Because you're going to be interacting with a lot of people all over the world. I think it's really important that you understand what's going through their mind when you're talking to them, what is their experience that they're comparing your opportunity to, and also that has some bearing on how long it's going to take you to actually build this, because you have to understand what the process is, right? Okay, so I want to compare a couple of different systems, if you want to call them that, right? So first, I want to tell you that the first time that I really kind of experienced my thought about failure, when I first started thinking about failure, was when my dad died when I was 19. He was away on what was to be his last business trip before he kind of semi-retired. He was in Houston. He had a heart attack and died. He left behind a relatively financially comfortable widow and 2 teenage boys, and he was 54. People flew in from all over the country for his funeral, and I remember sitting there in a daze thinking all of those existential thoughts about what's the meaning of life and everything. You know, my dad just died. And I remember everybody talking about how successful he was and what a shame it was that he died young. And I remember thinking, I don't think my father was successful, because if somebody had described that for him, he's going to work hard his whole life. His kids are going to barely know him. He's going to build up a successful company finally after having 3 fail. And then he's going to die at the age of 54 of a heart attack, away from home on a trip, and leave a relatively young widow and a couple of teenage boys. Here, there's your plan. Sign on the dotted line. I don't think my dad would have signed up for that deal. I don't think he thought that was just all he knew. That was all he knew to do. And it was all that was kind of available to him at the time. This was just what everybody did. And so he just went down the path that everybody did. He did what everybody around him did. He ate the way they all ate. He smoked the way they all smoked. All of those things. And I can remember thinking that at 19, I don't think that people really understand what they're signing up for. So now let's transfer that to everybody else in the world. Let's talk about this process. If you've seen the movie The Matrix, this is about a guy named Neo who gets introduced to the idea that the world isn't what you think it is, right? If you haven't seen the movie, I suggest it. It's really good. And it comes down to, you want to take the blue pill or do you want to take the red pill? And I'm going to suggest, if you're watching this video, Neo, that they didn't give you that choice when you were a kid. They just started feeding you the blue pill. And you went to the school and they just started programming you and feeding you the blue pill. And then you get to a certain point and you graduate. Congratulations, we throw parties, woo woo, you're on the path to success. You go ahead, a few more years, you graduate again. Yay, yay, we throw parties, we go to dances, we do things. Then you go to college and you spend a bunch of money for 4 years and you go to college and you have another graduation. Rah, rah, zis, boom, bah, you graduated, you're awesome. Then you go and you get a career and you work for however many years. You end up working for different companies. Sometimes you have different career paths because companies fail and you find out that you're dead-ended. So you completely switch careers, for the most part, 3, sometimes 4 times. That's the average, okay? And then you get to a point in time towards the end of your life and you find out the truth somewhere along the line, in most cases, that 98% of the people who take that path never get to be financially independent. At the end of this, their whole life, they are dependent financially on somebody else or something else. The next thing is that if you started a business, you find out, wait a minute, 95% of all businesses fail. And of the ones that do succeed, the ones that beat all the odds, every decade there's a tremendous economic collapse and many, many more of them die, fail, and there's nothing you can do about it. You can't avoid it. Well, I will tell you what I avoided. They got me 2 times. My business has failed in economic collapses. through things I just couldn't control. The markets just disappeared, and there I sat. My business is gone. So about each time, I figure I lost about $1 million. So fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I studied. I found out it happens every decade. It has for the last now 130 years. So you think at 120, 12 times in a row, I'm thinking this is going to happen again. Now, Brad Krantz and I, in our webinars, we started telling everybody a year ago, hey, there's a crash coming. We don't know what's going to cause it. Nobody knows what causes them. Because if we knew, we would work around it. It's something unforeseen. Some weird thing happens, and I can't tell you why. It's baked into the human experience somehow, that every decade there's a crash. This time it was a virus. I'm going to tell you how I beat it. A year ago, I shut my company down. I shut it down. I said, I'm not going through that again. I got this far, and I started building consumer networks, because no matter if the economy goes up or if the economy goes down, the business of consumer networking goes up. You make money when the economy's bad. You make money when the economy's good. It's just a different experience because the foundation is different. Now, you'd think that people would be told this, that somewhere in school you'd be taught this, but you're not. The reason you're not taught this is because, one, the education system is designed, created, and supported by institutions, corporations, and government that have a vested interest in creating employees. They don't even particularly like businesses. This is about big, huge corporations that fund university systems and education systems. This is about a government that is influenced to fund public education. They have no interest in creating independent people. Just think about it. I'm not being negative or weird or conspiracy theory or anything like that. I'm just saying they're paying money to produce what they want. They have no interest in you graduating and being financially free and saying, gee, I don't think I need a job. They've just invested 16 years in you, right? They want somebody who's usable. They want somebody who's a good employee. And if you start a business, that's fine. You know what those big companies know? They know that every 10 years, all of these companies, most of them are going out of business, and they're going to go through there and they're going to, for pennies on the dollar, buy up all of the assets and the proprietary intelligence of those companies. They're going to be able to pull over employees that have been trained by somebody else and pull them into their businesses. That's the way the deal is cooked. If you think I'm kidding, I'm just telling you, I've worked as a business consultant. I've sat on boards and advisory boards of companies in 50 different industries. I've built or reorganized 20 different companies. I know what I'm talking about. Just look at the result. You don't have to believe me. Look at the result. Do the investigation. 95 to 98% failure. Now, if that's the case, and you start looking backwards, don't you think that if you actually want a different outcome, you might want to not pick that path? If somebody says, hey, let's go down this road, there's a 95 to 98% chance we aren't going to get where we want to go. Think about that. Hey, let's go on a trip, Mary. Yeah, where do you want to go? Let's go to Los Angeles. Okay, we want to go to Los Angeles. Let's go on a road that isn't going to get us there. Now, it doesn't make any sense, but it's what people do. So you're going to be going out there in the world, and you're going to be talking to people who they're frustrated. They don't feel like they've got good opportunity, or they've been working their whole life and they found out, wait a minute, I can't even really afford to retire. It's all of these things going on, and they might be angry, they might be cynical, they might be pretty beat up by the system, but the truth is they're not really prepared to hear that they took the blue pill. Hey, there's a red pill. You might want to think about the red pill, and they look and they go, wait a minute, if there was a red pill and a blue pill, wouldn't they have told me in school? Their whole psychology tells them, their sociology tells them that if it's not what you learn from your family and friends, it must be bad. And if it's not something that was taught in school, it must be wrong. And now you're coming and you're questioning their entire existence and experience. So you can understand that it's going to take some time for most of these people to come around. Now, you do occasionally stumble into brilliant people that just come in and they're just prepared and they just go for it. Okay? In your career, you're going to come across a few of those. But the only way you come across those is if you stay in the business for a while. Now, before I jump into the specifics of the mechanics of Facebook, I want to talk about something else. Consumer networking. Now, you're going to run into a bunch of people that say, those deals don't work. That thing doesn't work. I was in that before and it didn't work. Now, I want you to think about this. There is no risk. There's no overhead. You don't have really any big investment. You don't have really a bunch of requirements. There's nothing to keep you from succeeding here except you quitting. There is no force that can force you out of the business. Okay, the economics go down. It doesn't force you out of the business. You don't have any risk. So let's think about this in terms of a job. Let's compare consumer networking to a job. And they say, well, you know, those deals don't work. There's a lot of people that don't succeed in that business. And I'm going to tell you, that's a lie. Anybody who actually does the business succeeds. Let's compare it to a job. Okay, let's say that you go on an interview and they say, Fred, you got the job. You say, great. I'll see you Monday morning. Good, Fred, you be here Monday morning. So Fred shows up Monday morning and he shows up Tuesday morning, and Wednesday morning, Fred decides he's not going in. It just wasn't something he's really enjoying, doesn't really excite him, or, you know, there was a ball game on or a butterfly flew by, whatever. Fred doesn't go to work and Fred gets a phone call. Fred, where are you? We were expecting you to be in. Now, Fred says, yeah, I don't think that deal's for me. Okay, I just didn't come in today. They say, okay, Fred, I'm going to put somebody else in your spot. You know, you aren't performing. So now you ask Fred, how's that job going? And Fred says, yeah, those job deals don't work. Those don't work. You say, really? Really, Fred, you were so excited about your job. And Fred goes, yeah, it's a scam. It just doesn't work. Now, you see, that's stupid. You heard me tell a story there and you think, well, that's ridiculous. Fred didn't even go to work. Well, let's take a look at consumer networking. You don't have a boss here. You're independent. This is about you. This is about your opportunity and your ability to focus and build something. And what happens is, true, people get in and they do a few things and they either, don't get a lot of success right away. Now, that's not the same thing as failing. Not having success is not the same thing as failing. Because not being successful means that you might have a lesson to learn, and you use that success failure, if you want to call it a failure, as the ability to learn. So you go back and you say, well, I did that and that wasn't successful. What do I need to change next time? That's not the same thing as failing. But some people quit. Some people say, I had somebody say to me recently, I've lost confidence in that company and nobody's getting in. Well, she was only talking to people for about 6 weeks. I've still actually got people that I'm talking to that came from her. Some of those people are going to end up getting in. And she left. I had a woman this week that got in for about 6 hours and introduced me to 4 people. And then she just left all the conversations. And one of those people is pretty excited and says he wants to actually figure out how to do this. It sounds really good to him. Did it fail? No, it worked fine. She just quit. You see, you can't not do something and say that the thing failed. It didn't fail. You just didn't do it. So that's a big difference. And it's important for you to know that, because as you start down this path, if you want to succeed, you have to finish the process. There's nothing to keep you from finishing it except you but you just have to finish it. I don't know how long it's going to take. Somebody asked me, how long does it take? I said, I don't know, 6 months to 2 years. I don't know what you have to learn about you in order to succeed. I don't know how diligent you're going to be. I don't know how much you can discipline yourself to actually do the work, but it's going to take some time. So I'm going to do a screen share here, and I'm going to bring up a couple of images that I want to show you. This is our document called Getting Started. And this goes down through all of the process of actually, getting enrolled and getting going. But down at the bottom here, these are all of the regional offices. But getting down at the bottom here is a list of all of the open nations, okay? And that's, you want to be focused when you're doing your recruiting. You want to be knowing what nations you're going into and what nations are open, right? So, you need to be aware of that. And here's another document. This is a funnel. And I want to show you what this is because this is really important. I don't know how long it's going to take you to do this. I drew this up around 6 months. If you're really consistent for 6 months, and only talking 30 or 40 minutes a day, and you can split that up in 5 or 10 minute chunks if you want, okay? So it's only 30 or 40 minutes a day. 6 months, if you do that, 6 months of consistent income producing activities. That's 10 to 20 people a day invited into our education funnel for 6 months means 1,800 invites. 70% will accept your invitation, so that you'll have 1,200 to 1,300 people in the process coming through. And what is the process? Messenger meetings, skills for success, webinars, experiencing the positive culture, and then out of about 12 or 1,300 people that come through that you've had conversations and invited, a standard conversion rate is somewhere between 2 and 5%. So that means that you're going to have probably about 20 growing teams, and you're going to have a number of other people, maybe 30 to 60 other people that are doing something. They're in the process. They're learning. Some of them may get more engaged later. Some of them will be buying some products. But if you go through this process, you're going to have these results if you do what we teach. This isn't about you. That's the whole idea of a system, is it takes the personality out of it, right? It takes your specifics out of it. You're just operating a system. You're pedaling a bicycle. And if you pedal the bicycle in the right way, you're going to have the success. It's just a machine, right? Now, what is this going to be? This is going to be a foundation that you're going to be able to start making some money. It's going to take you 6 to 9 months to get something of a foundation started, put together. Well, why does it take so long? You're so excited. It's obvious that this is a brilliant idea. You want to make money now. Because these people that are coming through here, they've not ever been taught to think like this. To them, this is very strange. Some of them may have other things going on in their life. They might be sick. They might have family issues. They might have business issues. They're not, used to taking part of their day and actually doing something productive with it. They're used to just working for a paycheck. It takes them time to build up their conviction. It took me 6 months. It took me 6 months from the time this was first introduced to me to where I really said, I think I'm going to go ahead and start building this. Now, from that point, because I've been going to some meetings, we do virtual meetings. Back in the day, you used to have to drive around town. You go to these meetings, I would sit and I would listen to these people and go, that's really interesting. I want to think about that. And that's just my process. It took me a while. But that's how most people are. It takes them, 6 weeks to 6 months to just actually get going. Even if I bought a kit right away, I didn't do anything. I bought some products. I just wanted to get in. I figured, you know what? You can't tell how good the water is by sitting by the side of the pool in a chair drinking a drink. You got to get in the water. So that just made sense to me. I'm going to go ahead and enroll, and I'm going to buy some products because I want to get in and start, learning more about this. So as I did that, then from 6 months to about a year, I was really struggling. I was trying to figure out, how do I work this into my life? how do you do this? How do I actually talk to somebody? I didn't have a system like this. I developed this later. I developed this because of all the struggle and frustration I went through. So I was at least 1 year into this process. I'm glad my sponsor didn't give up on me. I was at least 1 year into this before I really started having some success and started seeing some people enroll. I was a year into it. Then remember, this was all face-to-face. This was back in the face-to-face days, and I wasn't exactly a smooth, polished character, right? I was pretty rough around the edges. I went through a period of 7 months where I talked to 70 people in a row, face-to-face meetings, sitting down at their table at their house with them and their wife, drawing this out on a piece of paper. 70 people in a row that told me no. Nope, not interested in that thing. I didn't believe that it was because the system was bad. I didn't believe that it was because the concept was bad. I just understood I hadn't run enough numbers and my skills weren't very good yet. I wasn't obviously very good at explaining this to people. But following that period, probably from 18 months to 3 years, I ended up with almost 50,000 people in a group, most of them in Asia. What if I'd quit in those early months? What if I just said, boy, I'm only making, at 18 months, I was making about $2,000 or $3,000 a month, something like that. Just barely getting started, really. But what if I'd quit? What if I'd said I'd put in hundreds and thousands of hours, really. I worked it. That 1 year from probably 12 to 24 months, I was really working it hard because I had it in my heart then. What if I'd quit? If I'd quit then, I would not have met Ruby Meyer in Southeast Asia, in the Philippines. In the first day, she went back to the Philippines. She had a 4-month head start before they actually opened in the Philippines, the company we were with. In 4 months, she started talking to people. She was that magic person. She was that person who had such a powerful sphere of influence and such skills that she had developed in other business things that the first day that the company was open in the Philippines, she enrolled 4,000 people in her team. Now that's the person that you're excited to find, right? But if I hadn't driven those miles and done all of those other things, I would not have been the person that could sit with her when she flew to the United States to meet with me face to face. And I would not have been the person that could have explained that. And I would not have had the relationship with a leader of a global team that I could take and introduce her to. And that person said, okay, Val? Great, he's a leader. He knows what he's doing. Because I'd fought through all of those things and that person had come to respect me. That's part of the deal. That's part of what you're doing here. You're building up you. You're developing your skills and you're giving all of these people, these 1,000 people, 1,200 people, you're giving them the time to develop into a group that's going to produce money for you for decades. But if you don't stay consistent, it's not going to work, okay? You need to understand what you're doing, okay? So let's see, is there anything else I need to go over here before I open up Facebook and get into it? Let's do it. Okay, see what I did here? This is a search bar on Facebook, right? And it says, not sure why my friends send me things that I should be doing. I have a global team with over 600 people in 50 nations. I'm not really interested in apps and things like that. It makes no sense. But anyway, I love them. They think they're doing me a favor. So Business France Group, and I'm going to hit go, and let's see what it does. Oh, these are groups. Now, I want to talk about different groups. There are basically two different types of Facebook groups in my experience and what I'm teaching here. One are what we call the make money groups. Those are groups where there are mostly people in there trying to figure out how to make money for nothing. How do I make money and not do anything? Basically, they don't know. Okay. Even the people posting those scams in there don't know they're scams. Most of those deals fall into one or two categories, by the way. They are either put together by somebody who's making money by people clicking through and developing traffic. They just make money on traffic. So they're going to post things like, make $5,000 in one way, let me show you how. And then they understand, they say, ask me how, then the person asks how, and they give them a link, and that person clicks through. Just by people clicking, there's somebody behind the scenes of ways that makes money. Now, one of the ways they do that is that they might have a robot embedded in some of those links on those websites that actually tracks and collects data on all your friend lists, and then they can sell that information to marketing companies. That's one of the ways that somebody behind the scenes make money. Another thing that happens is foreign governments can sometimes use those to track people and collect data on people's movements and who they know and what kind of things they talk about, because there are people who use social media, governments, to do that. I don't really care. I'm going to, make a bunch of money here in this deal, and I'm going to teach a bunch of other people to make money. And I'm not really too worried about these governments from that standpoint. I don't personally think they're smart enough to be able to, in the end game, really do, us much damage in our business. They're going to do a lot of damage to those people that are employees and that own, equity-based businesses. In our business, when you've got cash flow and you're out of debt, there's not much these governments can really do to hurt you. You have ways that you can take care of that business, okay? I'm just leave that there. That's a whole other webinar. So that's one type, the make money groups. The other type of a group is what I call special interest groups. And those can be groups about anything that's on Facebook. It can be groups about sports or business or hobbies or areas of activity, areas of interest like fashion and cosmetics. And it can be anything. And what you're trying to do is get into these groups and make some friends and start some conversations. And those types of groups, the prospecting takes a little longer, but it's higher quality. In the make money groups, you can hook up with people fast, but and I'll show you what I'm talking about. The people a lot of times aren't very mature. They don't have much experience in life. They're young. They're desperate. They're just trying to figure out some way that they can make $5 this week to eat. And they get involved in these things, and for some reason they think that there's a path to financial freedom with these apps and scams. Okay, there's not. It's foolishness, but they don't know. Remember, people don't know what they don't know. Okay, now let's go into one of these. This is promote and advertise your business for free. A lot of these aren't really great, but let's go in. But let's take a look at this first. 145,000 members, 5,000 posts a day. 154,000 members, 3,700 posts a day. 196,000 members, 3,700 posts per day. This is the kind of thing you're looking for. So let's go in here and let's pick one. First off, you're going to want to join these groups. What you're doing is you're establishing with Facebook that you are active in these groups, because Facebook doesn't punish you for sending out friend requests and having conversations with people if they're in a group. Facebook prioritizes groups and pages above your personal, social page. They like you being involved in groups. They view you as being more legitimate if you're in a group. Okay, makes sense? It really does when you think about it. So you're going to want to join some of these groups. And then as you go down through here, so now you've seen what these are. I'm going to jump over to one that I'm a member in, okay? Because I want you to be able to see it. But there's so many of these. There's just a ton of them. Now, this is one called Earn Extra Income Online. Honestly, I don't spend a lot of time here these days because I've moved more productively into some other areas. But I show you this because this is a place where people can start. They can get some fast activity. They're going to have some success here. Now, their success might not be people signing up and spending a bunch of money and you filling up your bank account. Remember, we want you to start learning skills. we want you to start developing a pattern where you're learning how to do some basic things. But in order to do that, you need to have some success. You know, if you want to someday ride in the Tour de France, you've got to be willing to be a 6-year-old kid, you know, taking the training wheels off and getting out there and learning how to ride your bike. And that's kind of where you're at right now. If you're just getting started, you just need to start having some success. And then as you go, we're going to teach you more and more and more powerful things. But it doesn't do me any good to give you a $20,000 bicycle and say, go ride in the Tour de France if you don't really hardly know how to ride a bicycle yet, right? We got to cover the territory, but we've designed this system to allow you to do that quickly. So, and ultimately, I'm telling you, if you got really good at this and you just spend the time, you could make a lot of money just doing the simple things here. You don't even know how to do the advanced stuff. You don't have to if you don't want. So I'm going to go down through here and let's look at some of these things that we see here. Okay, now a lot of these are, see, here's Promise OG, and he's telling people, you know, avoid the virus, stay at home, and make, you know, a bunch of money here. And this guy is from India, it looks like. And there's 4 comments, okay? Welcoming new members. You see what's going on here. Here's 9 more comments. This guy says, thank you. All right. You go down here. This person says, inbox. So this person wants this person to inbox them and talk to them about their deal. This person's trying to convince people to get into Bitcoin or to get into cryptocurrencies. Okay, this is called Moon Bitcoin, right? Moon cryptocurrency. Look, I do another thing about cryptocurrencies, and I'm just, you know, I don't want to get too deep into it here, but if you wrote on a piece of paper $1 million and you went down to somebody and said, hey, I want to buy your house, here's my money, they would laugh at you and they would say, I'm sorry, that's not actual money. You said, well, yeah, it is. I wrote $1 million here on this piece of paper. I made it out of thin air, and I think this is good money. Look, the reason it's a joke is because they are not convinced that you, they aren't convinced that that's actually, they can then take that and go to the store and buy groceries with it, right? It has to be a medium of exchange. Cryptocurrencies, they don't exist in anything except in a computer someplace. It's a code. It's like a game. There's no reality behind it other than somebody thought this is going to catch on someday. I think I want to gamble that this might be the one. There's no bank that backs it. There's no nation that backs it with their economy. It's just make believe. It's just a computer game, right? And yet people think it's a thing. I don't get it. I've studied it. I know people that have really made a lot of money by inventing Bitcoin. Literally, they put a lot of money into a computer farm, and they farmed Bitcoin and sold it to people and made a lot of money. Now, that's, to me, that's the definition of a scam. You created something and you sold it to people, and it doesn't really exist. They can't go put it in their pocket and walk away. You know, just the way it is. But let's go in and take a look at this person. This person's from Nigeria. There are some kind of interesting things here, although there's definitely some immature behavior, but this person has 5,000 people here in his friend list. He's from Nigeria. Okay, he's a young person. I'm going to forgive him for being kind of goofy because I'm not as young as I once was, and I get a little goofy sometimes too. And his girlfriend's cute. And, you know, my wife is one of the most beautiful people in the world, and she makes me act a little goofy sometimes. Okay, so look here. There's some interesting things. I actually like this guy. I just got lucky this morning when I was going through. I couldn't find anything interesting. I like this guy. He's from a country that I'm building in. I'm focused on Nigeria. I like having a strategy on what nations and what industries I'm building in. And I'm going to send this guy a message. Now, what message do I send? Let me pull up what I do. I have these scripts, all right? And I suggest that you do this also. My first script basically says, hi, I saw comments you made on a post online. Now, most of those make money online deals are junk, as you know. I'm on a social media marketing team that has a system we use to do target marketing. Feel free to come check us out. If you're serious about making money using social media, we can talk. No risk, no hassle, just a conversation, okay? Now, this message is very, very specifically designed to open someone's mind so that they're encouraged to get back to me and have a conversation. I just want to start someplace to see if this person is open-minded to have a conversation. So I'm going to, now remember, I belong to that group. So Facebook sees me there and sees me as being an active member. So I'm going to copy this over here and I'm going to send a message. Hi. His name is Mimi, I guess. Now, this person is a student that's not maybe who I typically target, but I really like this guy's Facebook page. There's some real, yeah, it's a he. I see, I'm going to look and see it's a he. And I'm going to send this, and then I'm going to send this person a friend request. Okay, so this person is going to see me in a friend request. They're going to see that there is a message there. And I'm going to go back to the group. Okay, now that is a perfect example of a way in which you can go through here, target somebody in a foreign country that you have determined that you want to build in by looking at the list of countries, thinking it could be it could be countries that you think are going to develop a lot in the next 10 years. It might be a situation where you go, gee, I'd really like to take a vacation to Hawaii and I want to be able to write that off on my taxes. So I'm going to recruit somebody from Hawaii or Jamaica or the Seychelles. Well, Seychelles is not a good example because it's not open, right? But, you know, there are places in the world that have amazing beaches. I personally love the Philippines. I fell in love with that country 20 years ago. I decided I wanted to marry somebody from the Philippines. So what did I do? I started building teams in the Philippines. And I eventually met my wife, who's the most amazing person in the world, and we fell in love. And I had to chase her down and convince her because she's amazing and frankly, I'm not. So, you know, that's the way that story goes, right? And everybody knows that that she's the better 98% of this team. But my point is there's different reasons why you might target different areas. Talk this over with your leader, with your mentor, okay? Talk about strategies and where should I look and what kind of populations, because certain parts of the world might be great to build into for the next 10 years, but they're probably not going to pay off a lot in the next 1 or 2 years. But they're a little easier to find people. Now, some other places, the people have more money, they can buy products easier, but it's a little harder to find people because they don't perceive that they've got, you know, so much of a need. Although right now, a lot of people are rethinking that, right? There's a lot of people in the United States and Canada and Germany, places that are thinking, boy, I thought my deal was sure, and I just found out it's not. And my company's gone and my pension's with it. So you can get into these groups, get into retirement groups. Good. I mean, there's so many strategies and so many different things you can do. It's unlimited. But let's go down through, and I'm going to show you what I do. First, when I come into these, I just start liking things. See, I like stuff. I'm the most likable guy you ever saw. And I come down here, and I just like. And sometimes I'll come down here and I'll hit oh, that's funny. That's a funny one. This is a wow. Oh, that's a wow. And let's see, what else we got? Oh, there, boy, I love that one. It's a pictures of money. I love that one. You see what I'm doing? I just look at it. I want to make sure I'm not liking a post that somebody's grandmother passed away or something, okay? But other than that, I'm just like. Why? Why do I do that? Because Facebook sees me being active in that group. Now I can start conversations with people there. Does that make sense? If you understand how the algorithms work, now look here, who loves makeup? This is an interesting person. I don't know Morgan Lowry. Who's Morgan Lowry? That's an unusual post. I'm going to go over and look at this person. Morgan Lowry from Louisiana, married to Dustin Lowry. Now, look, this is a really great profile. Again, lots of good social contact here. She's obviously used to doing social media marketing, et cetera, et cetera. 300 friends, that's okay. I like that. You know, yeah, some probably better if there was 1,000, but 300 quality is better than 1,000 not. And pictures of kids, people doing stuff. This is somebody that I would like to send a message to. So I'm just going to send a message. I'm going to hit a message, and I'm going to say, Morgan, I saw you in a Make Money group, and I like your Facebook profile. Right? Now I'm going to go here and I'm going to take part of my standard deal. See, I customized the first part of it. I'm going to take part of my standard deal and I'm going to put it in here. And I'm going to send that. And I'm going to send Morgan a friend request. Okay. Now, Facebook's not going to hassle me because Morgan and I came out of a group. But you can see that once you get fast at this, you can go through here and spend 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, 20 minutes someplace else through your day, and you can send some messages to people. And what's going to happen is they're going to start getting back to me. Every day I want to send 10 to 20 messages. I want to get into these groups and I want to like. Laugh, wow, wow. Now, do I go into every group every day? No. I join 2 or 3 Make Money groups, and I join a group of other maybe 5 to 8 special interest groups, and I mix them around. I go into different ones on different days. Make sense? You follow me so far? And by doing that, I'm establishing myself in these groups. I'm creating relationships. I'm starting to talk to people. And in the process, now here's one that I belong to. Remember, I told you that I'm working on Nigeria. Nigeria is going to be one of the most powerful nations in the world within 10 years. And I want to make sure that our team is there. Now you can see there's some really interesting things here. Okay. Now here is somebody who's sharing a post. So I'm going to hit like. And this guy's a new member and he shared a post. Okay, here's a woman who's marketing herself. I'm Sandra, I'm 22 years old. I'm looking for a handsome guy for a serious relationship. Not sure about that. But anyway, I don't care. It's like, I like it. I like it. Oh, here, I liked some of these before. I was in here this morning, okay? Now, what can happen is I'm also going to drop some comments. When I find one that looks interesting, I might drop a comment and something that somebody else says. How, where do I go here? Join me. I was in one of these earlier. I'm going to go click on one of these and I want to see this person because I'm trying to show you different things. Okay. Now, here's somebody that I might not prospect. All right. Because this person is not displaying the kind of maturity and the kind of awareness of responsibility that I would be looking for on my team. Does that make sense? Trust no man, for he's dust, right? Do you understand what I'm saying? That I come through here and I look at some of these things and I say, yeah, okay, probably not somebody that I'm looking for, because this person, probably a fine person, okay? But this is full of Bob Marley quotes and drug gang stuff and, stuff like this, gang member stuff with guns, okay? Not who I'm looking for, even though he's got a couple of thousand friends and he's actively doing stuff. I reject this person, but I am going to keep going. I just wanted to show you that because I think I'd looked at his stuff earlier, and you can see that what I do is I go in and I look at these things. Now here's that same guy posted. This guy's pretty popular. He posts a lot of stuff. Anyway, this group is probably not my favorite group, not my strongest group, but it was just happened to be there, and I thought it was a chance to show you some things. So I hope that this explains the process and the philosophy behind it, explains how you've got to give this time, because you're preparing a global business. You're planting a big field, if you will, on your farm system. It takes some time. You have to stay steady. You've got to fill up that funnel. You have to fill up the funnel. I'm going to take a look at this again as I'm signing out here. 6 to 9 months of consistent effort just lays your foundation. By that time, you're probably going to start making some money, all right? I would certainly expect almost everybody's going to start having some people in place, but don't look back after 1, 2, or 3 months and think, boy, I'm not making money. And sometimes people aren't even getting in by that time, but you've got many people lined up. Many people by that time are in the funnel. They're starting to get closer. And then eventually some of them start dropping through. And right now, this virus situation is upsetting all the numbers a little bit. I'm just suggesting, don't look at our current situation too much. If you're in the business right now and you're going through this, don't look at this and use this as your evaluation process, because everything's weird. Everybody's sitting back now saying, I really like that business, but I'm not sure I want to move forward just yet because I don't know what's going to happen. This does happen every 10 years. I remember when the terrorists flew the planes into buildings, everybody stopped, but I didn't stop working. I didn't stop developing. This is a perfect time while everybody's sitting home and they're asking, what's my future going to be? This is the time to start sharing ideas with them. Bring them in. Have them experience something. Have them start hearing things like this, okay? I hope that makes sense, but you've got to run these numbers. If you don't run the numbers, you can't invite 20 people and say, oh, gee, the numbers don't work. 20 people's not a big enough sample set. You need several hundred people. And just an explanation of that, just look at our business. We've got about 600 people right now in a period of, let's see, what is it, about 3 months roughly. We've got about 600 people all total coming through the system. And we're starting to get people enrolled. We're 2 and 3 in deep. But what happened was we put in a bunch of people pretty fast. And I'll just be honest with you. We understand how this business works. The faster you can do it, the better. We're in a position where we pulled several family members and we said, hey, I want everybody sharing everything. And we're gonna share the money. Okay. But you got to share all our posts. And as you can, we want to teach you how to get out there and recruit. So we've got my wife, myself, several of her sisters, and we're all out there pumping the pump on this. It helps. Okay. It's just how fast can you do this? And we've got a lot of people to feed. We got to do it faster. All right. I love you guys. I hope you understand what this is about. I wanted you to see the mechanics of how to do this. I wanted you to see this script, okay? Come up with some, take mine, modify them a little bit, but talk to me about this, because I see people sometimes using script and I'm saying, That's not, you're not going to get the result with that, because you're not opening their minds. You're saying something that's maybe going to close their mind. I see it all the time, and I've been doing this for years. So run your scripts past me. Happy to help you fine tune those. I hope this all makes sense. Let me stop my screen share and just say thank you so much for spending this time. I'll clean this up and edit it, and let's go out there and make this thing happen for you and your family, and stick with it. Just make a decision for yourself. I'm going to run this thing for 6 to 9 months. I'm going to counsel with my upline mentor every step of the way, and talk to them about what my successes are and what's working, what's not working. I want to make sure that I'm talking to them every couple of days, messages, not phone calls, quick little messengers, touching base. Give this 6 to 9 months, and you're going to start to see something happening if you will put in the numbers. But you've got to put in the numbers. Okay. All right. That's it. I'm saying the same thing over and over again, but that's really what we do. We just say the same thing over and over. Love you guys. Talk to you soon.